Oh, hello, welcome back to another Tabletop Impulse video. Today we're running back to a feature that we've not been able to do for a long time, where I go through one of my painted kill teams, because I finally got the Euclidian Starstriders off my to-do list after many years. And following this, just some general thoughts on my hobby really, because I could use some advice. So, let's go through the Starstriders. I'm going to get my laser pointer out here so you can see what's going on. So, we start off with the red jacket. This is a Mephiston red undercoat, shaded in the recesses with Flesh Terrors red, and then you can go back to Mephiston to sort of re-establish if you need to, and then a sort of little bit of a highlight with some Evil Sun Scarlet and some Squig Orange just there, an extreme highlight. The blue jackets on all of the kind of mooks at the back was really interesting, so that's rust grey with a shade of null oil over the top, and then Fenrisian grey edge highlights. The brown leather that you see all over the models is my tried and trusted brown leather recipe, which does not use a wash, which everyone always assumes it's going to use a wash. It's Rhinox hide, and then a chunky Doombull brown edge highlight, and then you can see some brown leather on here on this shoulder strap, for example, and then some scrag brown on the edges. Silver metallic is my standard silver metallic recipe, so I like to do lead belcher with a null oil over the top. Then I'll ignore that. That is what I get for copying and pasting from an old slideshow. Hang on, excuse me. Didn't use any Agrax Earthshade on these guys. There we go, get rid of that. And then a highlight with Vallejo Model Air Chrome. So, by and large, if you've seen any of my previous hobby videos, you know this, but by and large, I use Games Workshop paints, not because I think they're the best paints. I think that they're pretty good, but they're so convenient. You run out of paint like halfway through a project. You don't want to stop that project to wait on a delivery, right? And I live in the UK. I have that privilege where every kind of town has a GW store or a Warhammer store in, and you can just wander down and pick up the paints that you need. 20 minutes in the car there and back, and there you go, you can carry on with your painting session. But for certain problem colours, and the Stormhost Silver is a paint that I hate. So any online recipe that calls for Stormhost Silver, I always substitute Vallejo Model Air Chrome. It's a great paint. It comes in a little dropper bottle, and one drop bottle lasts for ages, unless you manage to spill it or something. The trim, the kind of trim. Now, some people interpret the trim on the jackets as gold. I've looked and looked. I think it's supposed to be this kind of bone colour. So I did the trim with Xandri Dust, and then Seraphim Sapia, and then an edge highlight of a Shabti bone. And that's the same on all of the uniforms on all the trim. And then we've got... So anywhere that you see black leather, there's loads of black leather on the Assassin. There's black leather boots on most of the miniatures. Anywhere you see black leather, that is Skaven Blight Dinge. Well, it's Abaddon Black highlighted up with Skaven Blight Dinge with a little point highlight of Storm Vermin Fur. The bronze armour that's across the whole team is Balthazar Gold with a all-over shade of the Gulliman Flesh contrast paint. I would have used Agrax Earth. No, I would have used the Flesh Wash, the glossy Flesh Wash, but they've stopped making it. So yeah, Gulliman Flesh contrast paint all over, and then Agrax Earthshade in the recesses just to get the depth that you kind of want. And then a little point highlight with Model Air Chrome again. And the green, this is literally just on the corset top piece and the kind of, I guess that it's the bodysuit, isn't it? It's covering her bust and the tops of her arms and her thighs. One assumes it's like an all-over bodysuit, and then she's got like the leather armor pulled on top. But that is the lovely Sons of Horus-y colours. So I did an undercoat of Sons of Horus green. It's a layer paint, so a couple of coats of that. And then a shade with very thin down Pterodon turquoise contrast paint. Re-establish the Sons of Horus green on the flat areas. And then an edge highlight of Sybarite green. And I think I've covered just about everything. A couple of little other flourishes. Oh, black gun casings I've not put on there. I see them now on the last gun and on the last pistol. That's just Dark Reaper highlight, and then a point highlight of Thunderhawk blue. And then if you really want the surface look hard, you can go rust grey, but I didn't push it to rust grey with these because they had the rust grey uniforms. The feathers that I think came out really well is literally just 2 contrast paints, wet blending. Like, I don't wet blend at all, ever, but with contrast paints, it's just, like, paint badly. Like, just don't wait for the previous layer to dry and just put the other paint on, and if they're vaguely sympathetic colours, you should get a reasonably decent result, so that's fine. Skin tones, I never go into skin tones. Most of my skin tones just come from watching. Darren Latham used to have a YouTube channel until Games Workshop made him take it down. I have some of his videos downloaded. I watched the same 2 tutorials for painting male and female faces and follow them badly. I tell you what, this was my first ever job time at painting non-white skin. I think it came out really well because in my mind these are all, they're not anymore in the new rules. They're not named characters apart from Euclidian Vein, but I wanted to have them all as the original named characters from the Euclidian Starstriders. So, yeah, I wanted to paint him as he was in his original art. It's one of those things I've never done. Now that I've kind of cracked it, I'm going to have to paint more, what I will probably do, for example, when I go back to my Sisters of Battle, I will paint probably an entire squad with this kind of darker skin tone, and then not field them because I've got most of an army that's all painted up in Caucasian skin tones. So I'll paint an entire squad in a darker skin tone and then mix those models out throughout the rest of the force. To break it up a little bit, because just because you paint 10 models doesn't mean you always field those 10 models together. Saying that, I haven't written down. I'm sure I just cribbed it from a. It may even have been the Warhammer TV subscription only, how to paint darker skin tones. It may have been from there, and then adapted it slightly for my kind of level of skill. But I hadn't written it down because I hadn't written it down in my book, so I haven't written it down on the PowerPoint. But that was a thing. And then the little sickly pale skin tone on this fellow is the skin tone that I usually use for zombies and things, which I didn't write down, but I know what it is because it's kind of one of my things I always go back to. It's the deepkin flesh, and then a green wash, and then the highlight that came out with the deepkin flesh. I'm sorry, I'm making a mess of the video now, aren't I? But see if I find it on my painting desk. The iron rack skin, and then a green wash, and then the deepkin flesh. Right, that's that. I think that's everything. Oh, one other thing that I experimented with here: the Tesla coil. That's got some freehand on. That is a new product that Zimbad put me onto. Zimbad's been to art school. And this is Liquitex Professionals acrylic ink, and the colour is titanium white. It's a white ink. The bottle looks like this. There we go, so professional. But that is quite good for little bits of freehand. So that was freehanded with ink on there, which I think came out quite well. Obviously, you don't thin that; you just wash it on. And that's good. That's great. And to give you a little bit of a review of what I thought about these models, I've had these models for a long time. I got these when the Rogue Trader Kill Team 18 box came out, right? And they got assembled really quickly and then put on a shelf. And I'm painting them up now for Kill Team because they've got rules. And that is my latest hobby. And I'm going to be taking them to Warhammer World in December. Hoping they get a buff in the balanced data slate before then. That would be nice, because right now I think they're a pretty weak team. But we will see how I do with them. I've been getting lots of practice games against Zimbad with his intercessors, and I have yet to beat him. Intercessors into Starstriders is not a favourable matchup, but we will see. We go there to play, to have fun, and hopefully show people something a bit different. That would be really good. I want to talk about my hobby for a little bit, my kind of hobby life. I feel like I've plateaued. I know that I paint quite well. Because I post my stuff in various places, and the feedback's always pretty positive. People are always like, "Oh, that's really good. They look really cool." Da, 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 da. And I never know if people are just being polite, because basically the internet has two modes. They either tell you to like fuck off and die in a car fire and never touch brushes again, or they tell you that your paint job is the best thing ever that they've ever witnessed in their entire life. Like those are the only two modes, and basically it's never critique. It comes round down to whether you're dealing with a person who is rude or a person who is polite. And so, like, what I so crave is someone to say, you know, "Oh, I really like how you did this. You could really elevate your models if you did this." You know, and give you some. Obviously, nobody wants to do that. That's work. I mean, I don't know, but I feel like I got my models to a point, and then this is over a year apart, right? These sisters to these Starstriders, I can't see much of a difference. Like, I can go back earlier than this, stuff that I painted 3, 4, 5 years ago, and I can see the improvement. I've stopped being able to see the improvement, and I don't aspire to win painting competitions. What I perhaps aspire to do is win those kind of, like, the best painted team at, or the third best painted team or whatever at a tournament. So, like, I distinguish between, like, I play the game, so I want my painting to be really very good for someone who actually builds and plays with whole forces and things, and goes to tournaments. I'm not talking about, like, painting contests where people spend, like, 3, 4 months painting a single figure and painting on all his eyebrows and the veins on his eyeballs and everything else. Obviously, I don't dream of getting my skill. I don't have the time to learn that as a craft. But what I would like to do is, at some point, just to get a little bit of recognition at a sort of the painting score that goes alongside a Games Workshop kind of event, or the best presented team at our event, that kind of thing. That's the level I aspire to, and I just don't know how to get there. I don't, and I feel like I'm happy with my results, and I'm mainly painting for me, but maybe I need to change things up. I did try to do a little bit of freehand. You know, I wouldn't have done that before, but I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, and unfortunately, all the readily accessible advice on the internet at the moment, and maybe it's just the circles that I'm in, it's all about, like, either like, oh, you just vaguely tolerate painting because you want to play, so you want to do slap chop, which underpainting is perfectly valid. I kind of dislike the slap chop word thing. It was around before that. Or it's something else like, oh yeah, enamel washes, you don't need to paint. And before all of that, it was just dip, right? All these people, like, I'm not having a go at, sorry, hang on. I'm not having a go at the people that are popularising slap chop or popularising using enamel washes or any of the other things. But remember army painted dip? Like, it's just the dip mentality. It's just the paint it and then dip it is good enough and done. And that's absolutely fine for those people who want to do good enough and done, and I've got a gaming piece, right? It's fine, right? And then at the other end, you've got the people that are painting for proper, like, Golden Demon type painting competitions. Nobody's interested in my kind of mediocrity that I'm trying to improve within. It's really hard, I think. There's loads of resources out there for the novice painter, and there's loads of resources out there for the expert painter or the aspiring expert painter. There's very few kind of resources out there for the journeyman painter, I guess. Like, it's tough. Basically, if you have some advice, can I have it, please? If you have some criticism, can I have that too? If you want to tell me that I need to put more effort in on something, or that something is crap, please be rude to me. Like, no, I want some. Don't just say it's a big pile of shit. But, you know, I would love some feedback. Right, final thoughts. Hobbying with a baby is hard. It just really slows down the pace. I'm not going to hit the 2022 hobby bingo card this year. It's not going to happen. Like I spent ages talking about on the previous slide, if you have any thoughts on how I could improve and up my game, please do give me those comments. I crave them. Let me know about the sound. So no sooner I thought I'd fix the sound, and it was fine, I got another comment saying, oh, please, can you make your videos louder because I turn up the volume, and then the adverts come on, and then the adverts are like, up here, and then I get deafened, or, and so to explain again very briefly, it's all a trade-off between the hardware gain, the software gain, the different and unique distortions that they introduce into the mix, and the volume, right? So I've made it louder. If it now sounds awful, like I have listened to samples back before putting this video out, I think it's probably fine. But I thought it was probably fine before. I'm just obviously a terrible judge of what's fine. So a comment on the sound would also be great. Please, if you've enjoyed the content, subscribe to the channel. I will try and get another video out on, I don't know. I'm working late on Thursday. Zimbad's coming around to play Kill Team on Friday, and I'm going to have a lot of work to do. But there will be more videos. Fear not, there will be more videos in the future, so subscribe for them. Like the video if you liked it. Comment, engage, that will be good. And there is other stuff if you expand the description. There's a Discord server, there's Instagram, there's the Twitter. You can, if you really want to, you can become a channel member and send me money every month, or at the very least, click the button, because there's another sort of secret video in there when you click the join button, like a little extra bit that you can go watch and then go, that's nice, Phil, and then leave and not pay me any money. That's fine. I don't care. You can do that. Yeah, good. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a great evening, whatever it is that you're doing. Cheery bye.